Kenya's Foreign Minister Amina Mohammed, together with 20 officials from different ministries, have held discussion with their Chinese counterparts in Beijing. The discussions were centered on ways in which China can help Kenya convert its potential in human and natural resources into economic strengths. The Kenyan government also issued a statement expressing support for China's position on the South China Sea dispute. It states that the government of the Republic of Kenya believes that any disputes in the South China Sea should be peacefully resolved through consultations and negotiations in accordance with bilateral agreements and the Declaration on the Conduct of Parties in the South China Sea. Kenya's government further stated that it respected China's statement of optional exception in light of Article 298 of the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. The statement continues to say that the international community should continue playing a constructive role in supporting the efforts made by the region to safeguard regional peace and stability. Well, let's get you some perspective on that story now. A little earlier, we spoke to Dr. Wilson Muna. He's the Director of Research at the Africa Policy Institute. We asked him what is the significance of Kenya's statement on the South China Sea dispute.
The significance that has come on the South China Sea in reference to Kenya is that Kenya is trying to say to China that we are there. We recognize the kind of friendship that you have accorded us. We recognize the kind of support that you have shown us over time, even when we were in the deepest of the crisis. I think also looking at this South China Sea, it has some similar trend where you see China that is saying, it's calling actually for negotiations, you know, with interested parties or with involved parties, with countries like the Philippines, which has already submitted a case to an international tribunal. So I think that is maybe why Kenya is so much interested in supporting China on this. And yes, I am aware of that some of the African countries have already shown support. Countries like Mozambique, countries like Niger, countries like Burundi. Well, I would say that these countries are more likely, you know, in my own perception or in my own judgment, taking a right move. In fact, I am not aware of countries, particularly in Africa, that has issued a statement against China and its position on the South China Sea issue. So, and if they have not issued a statement against, what does that tell us? It tells us they probably, you know, they are probably in support, or they just don't want to be seen openly supporting the issue. But then maybe until that time that we have a number of African countries going, you know, openly against China on the issue, then I think then we can start a new debate. But I think that the African countries are taking a right direction by supporting China on this issue that has in itself an issue, almost like an issue to protect the sovereignty. And also it is bringing into play the Chinese principle of non-interference, or a Chinese principle of negotiations. You know, China is very strong in terms of calling negotiations as opposed to open confrontation. So I think I would support the African countries that are taking that move.